I don't mean this to be negative, and I'm not trying to bash a particular business model, but there's this little thing called ProFinder. Maybe you've seen it if you're in a particular type of a social media. And on a regular basis, I'll get requests for one of two things because they're the areas of my expertise, if you will. And it's for leadership development or it's for public speaking training. And it's fascinating to me how often I get these requests and they talk about, I'm glad to work with a coach one-on-one, or I'm glad to work with a coach virtually. And, there's a description block in there for them to say, this is what I really want training on. And I would say probably in the leadership capacity, in that specific request, 1 in 75 actually are already serving in a role of leadership and they want to improve their skills. The rest of them, it's like they're sitting in a huddle with their hand up going, I want to be in charge now. It's my turn to be in charge. I want the big paycheck. I want a new opportunity. Help me get my new job. Help me fix my resume. And I'm looking at those and I'm thinking to myself, if you're not already in a position of influence, how do you know that's what you want? I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. I had the pleasure yesterday of sitting in on the Global Leadership Summit and listening to Patrick Lencioni, and he talked about the reality that there are really only two kinds of leaders. Now, this is a guy who's got umpteen years of experience in corporate leadership at the highest level as CEO, as a consultant to some multi-billion-dollar companies. He's done things in leadership I've never even imagined. But to boil it down to just two kinds of leaders, that seemed at first a little extravagant to me. It seemed quite ambitious, to be honest with you. But when he broke it down and said, these are some of the things that this kind of leader does, and these are some of the kind of things that this kind of leader does, it became a lot more obvious that it really is a pretty clear line of demarcation. The servant leader versus the reward-seeking leader. Now, I believe the book is called Motive. I could be mistaken. It's brand new. It was just released, or he just submitted it last Friday, so it may not even be on the shelves yet. But the concept of these two different kinds of leaders is pretty profound. Do you want to lead because of the power, the influence, the money, the paycheck that it's going to give you, the ability to put your thumb on others, to pound them into submission? Or do you want to be a leader because it's a natural reaction for you to help others, to serve others, to do for other people, to be involved in their lives? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to exercise authority. You do. And you do have to make tough decisions. As John Maxwell says, if it's lonely at the top, you're not doing it right. But he also says for every level, and T.D. Jakes says this as well, for every level of leadership, the pay raise isn't based on, man, I really like this guy. The pay raise is based on your ability to make tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher decisions. So every level of leadership requires that you make tougher decisions, harder decisions about your friends, harder decisions about how the money's going to be spent or who's going to get laid off first. Making those tough choices, that's what leadership is really about. And sometimes those tough choices are, okay, who is going to wash everybody's car this weekend? Will it be me? Am I going to take off my tie, take off my coat, and go out here and serve other people? Who is really going to show up and do this work that nobody wants to do? And sometimes, most of the time, that's the role of the leader. If what you're seeking is that power and that influence and that job title that makes your resume look like you're awesome, and I'm not saying that's not a practical strategy. There are a lot of people who take a job way beneath the pay scale that it should have just so they can have that title on their resume, because the next time they apply for a job, people look at that job title and go, oh, look what kind of somebody you were. I've done it. I've taken volunteer roles in an advisory role where I wasn't getting paid anything, but I was serving in that capacity, making those decisions, giving that kind of insight because it looks good when other people come and say, well, have you had any experience at this level? Yes, I have. I didn't get paid for it, but feel free to call them and ask them what I invested in them. That does have some great merit to it. But if that's all you're doing is seeking to pad the resume to increase the paycheck next time, and you're not doing it for the organization that you're serving, then you're more of a reward-seeking leader than a servant leader. That's a drastic difference because it comes back to the heart. Now, there are a lot of people out there who have a great heart. They're great leaders because they care about people. They show up and they do the hard work. They show up early in the morning. They stay late at night. They pedal on the downhill. They do what must be done because that's what great leaders do. But they do it without the job title, without the fun of the position, without the authority of the position, without the nameplate on the door or even on the resume, without the big fat paycheck because it comes from their heart. The result of that is those kind of leaders, those kind of people, they're going to have great influence and great leadership opportunities all of their life because they're truly leading people from their heart as a servant leader, not seeking leadership for their own kind of reward. Just something to think about. By the way, I'm out the door pretty quickly to go back to the Global Leadership Summit for the rest of the day today. Really looking forward to it. Maybe tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's Friday. No, today's Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday. I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be back on Monday. Maybe I'll have some new ideas to share with you. I challenge you, though, go get that new book by Patrick Lencioni. You may just have to look it up and search with servant leader versus reward leader and see what you find. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Leadership team. If attitude is going to have a deep impact on your business and bottom line, make it a positive attitude with a positive impact. Visit jlorennorris.com/attitude hack